You want to go fast? You like not wearing any clothes? You like popping dank nooners? We got 3 of the greatest hyper naked motorcycles on the road today. Which one's best? Let's find out today.
That boy ain't right.
This right here is a ZH2. It features a 998cc supercharged inline-4 making 197 horsepower and 101 foot-pounds of torque. This baby's got more testosterone than already had back in the good old juicing days. And if that wasn't enough, we got a full Brock system on this bad boy. Brock system. And if that wasn't good enough, you can win this bad boy for free on YammieNoob.co.
Now some of you might actually recognize this bike, and it's because we've had it on the show before. This is off of Twisted Road. If you want to get a bike, rent it for the day, get a free day of riding, click the link down in the description below.
Last up, we've got a 2020 Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 factory. It's basically a Italian super bike cosplaying as a naked bike. It's got bleeding edge tech and a great exhaust note. That exhaust note is provided by this 1077cc V4, packing 175 horsepower and 89 foot-pounds of torque. We got this bike from Eurocycle. Now let's go take them out on the road.
Alrighty everybody, starting our hyper naked shootout here. I guess not so much a shootout and just us enjoying these motorcycles for the day, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're not actually going to be able to ring these bikes out because we're on the street and they're exceedingly fast, all 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, third gear, they're a little too fast. So Whitney, I'm curious, you're on the ZH2, which is probably our most powerful motorcycle here. I wouldn't say probably, it is our most powerful motorcycle. How are you feeling on it? What are you getting out of it right now?
Well, you recommended leaving the shop in rain mode, and then I feel like it was 10 minutes after we left, it was time to turn it into road mode, and this bike is awesome. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, but even on rain mode, you could feel how awesome it was.
Yeah, that's what I say to people about the ZH2. It's surprisingly competent and just a great all-around motorcycle. Spite, how do you feel about the ZH2?
The ZH2 is a laugh riot, man. It is just, you open it up and it's just giggle factor to the max. It'll put an ear-to-ear grin on your face no matter what you're doing and where.
Yep.
But it is a little manic for it, you know?
Would you say it's more manic than the Super Duke you're on right now?
Oh man, I'm not sure. Talking about a bike with Busa levels of torque, 106 foot-pounds. This thing is angry and brutish.
Yeah,
you know, they call
literally slaps you in the face with power.
Yeah, they call it the sledgehammer for a reason, and it is just so much fun to open the throttle on this thing. And, you know, one of the things I noticed about it is it never feels high-strung. It's like the Hayabusa in that way, where, you know, it doesn't feel like it's really having its neck wrung, even when you take it to the red line.
Yeah, I imagine such a torque-rich engine like that, you know, just delivers such a supple amount of power basically everywhere, you know, and 1300 cc's it's a lot of cubes.
It is a huge motor in this thing. But I mean...
But the Italians, you can't argue with that. However, what I was going to say before you so rudely interrupted me with your brutish V-twin is the Italians go about it a different way. They say 1077 is more than enough, and then we're just going to make it rev out until, you know, 12,000 RPM.
Oh, that thing sounds amazing when you fly by. It sounds so good.
I get to hear it twice. I hear it once when I'm on the Boyle and then once when on your Cardo. I mean, just at idle here, it's like, God, it's so good.
It is so good. It's one of the best sounding motors in motorcycling today, for sure. But how does it feel to ride? It looks like you're kind of tight and crumpled up on it.
I mean, besides my handlebars, I literally feel like I'm on an R1 or a RSV4. This is a super bike. It doesn't feel like a naked bike at all. On the side of the tire, my pegs are really high. I mean, I can just carve this thing up. Like, I could just get into it, just get after it on this thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the body position tells a lot. You can really get it after it on that thing.
Yeah, it's very aggressive, and you know, it really feels like it is too. This is a bike where I feel like, you know, it's weird calling it a naked bike because it's got a full set of headlights, it's got body plastics on it, it's basically just a road-going RSV4.
Yeah. It looks just like one, honestly. Like,
yeah.
You know, you put both of them next to each other, a normie wouldn't be able to tell the difference, really.
No, and unless you're talking like just true brutal top-end power, this goes every bit as fast as a liter bike, every bit. So what do you say now that we've got a couple baseline on these bikes? Let's pull out somewhere and let's swap around, shall we?
That sounds great.
Oh yeah, this bike fucking rules.
Oh man, dude, this is good. This is so good.
So the thing I want you to notice on the Tuono is the way it flicks in. Isn't it just like magic?
It's unbelievable, dude. This is a good motorcycle. Wow.
Yeah. The thing about the Tuono that just gets me is just how competent it is, you know? Like it's literally a super bike and you feel it and it's so composed, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yo, the ZH2 is so coked out, it's ridiculous. Oh my god, I love this thing. Whitney, how you feeling on the Super Duke?
Dude, this thing feels mean. It feels totally raw, like there's no skin.
It's so good, right? I love how angry it sounds.
Yeah, it feels really guttural.
I think it's one of the most interesting bikes we have today because it has no technology in it. I mean, it's got very basic traction control, very basic wheelie control, but you can overwhelm it super easily on that. It doesn't have that kind of fine film of computers between you and the motorcycle.
Yeah, I feel like it's a steak with no sides. Like you're just getting a medium rare ribeye with this.
For some reason, every time we talk about the Super Duke, we talk about, you know, steak and meat and blood, and, you know, I think that tells you a lot about that bike.
It's primal.
Yeah. It's a legend. That make, and, you know, people are going to be like, why didn't you get the fancy one, the 2020 with the TFT dash and blah, 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 blah. No, dude, the 2015 is the most raw iteration of it.
I have to do this, I'm sorry.
Oh, I love the dash on this thing, how the lights come on.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Oh, wow, this is such a good engine. It's so good.
Yeah, the Tuono is just like oh man, it's so refined, it's so delicious, you know? If we're keeping on the food analogies, the Tuono is just like that $100 a plate meal at a fancy restaurant, you know?
Yup.
Yeah, you get appetizers and dessert with that one.
And you're totally right, it flicks in just beautifully.
This is what I was saying about the Tuono on a racetrack, it would just destroy any other naked bike.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you ride the ZH2 and you're like, yeah, this has nothing for a Tuono on a twisty road. Nothing. So the Super Duke, because it's a 2015, doesn't have a quick shifter, and it doesn't have an auto blipper either. However, the Tuono and the ZH2 do. So I'm in fourth gear. I'm going to give you all the way down to first just because I feel like it.
I think that's one of the crispest sounding quick shifters I've ever heard.
Yeah, the auto blip on this is incredible. Easily one of the best I've felt for sure. I'm gonna squid on the bridge, aren't I? I sure am. I'm gonna back it down here and squid on the bridge.
I'm gonna let you go and then I'm gonna follow. I mean, you know, we make fun of us simping for these bikes, but at the price point that each one of these is commanding, they damn well better be phenomenal rides, you know?
Yeah, these are all, I mean, I think the Tuono is like a $22,000 or $23,000 motorcycle. ZH2 is like 18 grand. The new Super Duke is like 18 or 19 as well. To your point, yeah, they need to be good. If they're not good, that's crazy.
All right, now I guess we gotta swap again, and I gotta get on the ZH2.
You have to.
I gotta ride the Lightning.
Man, it's so cool how you can tell this is this kind of the granddaddy of them all, you know?
Yep.
This is it, man. This was the hyper naked bike.
It's a freaking legend. Although the ZH2's coming for that throne. Oh, it's so much fun to hear the supercharger chirp.
Yeah. I never thought I'd say it, but the Super Duke actually feels pretty tame compared to the ZH2. Again, as we said before, you want to set your hair, dick, and balls on fire, you call Brock's.
That chirp gives it so much character too, which I didn't anticipate. It feels like there's just a little gremlin living in your bike, but a nice one that makes your bike go a lot faster.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the Super Duke feels genuinely like supple and velvety and nice to ride, honestly.
It's really weird going back from all these three motorcycles, just how different the ergonomics setup is and how it informs kind of what it's all about. Because this tank is so wide between my knees.
Yeah, I thought the wide tank was going to interfere with just sitting comfortably on it, but it doesn't at all.
No, it makes it feel like you can actually hold on to the damn thing when you hit the gas.
Yeah, it feels like a loyal steed.
This thing is ridiculous.
Man. I will say, getting the downshift on this, blipping it yourself, and then hearing that V-twin rumble down on the D-cell is super nice.
Right?
That's super nice, man.
Yeah, that rumble is decadent.
Although I think the ZH2 is the only bike that makes you feel like you need a cigarette after you ride it.
Yeah, you really need just something else to take the edge off this thing.
Yeah, you need the refractory period.
This thing feels aggressive, but in a different way than the Duke does.
Yeah.
The Duke feels angry and you know, brutish. This doesn't feel that way. It feels, you know, like an Olympic sprinter almost.
Yeah. Yeah, it has like an explosive power to it, you know?
Mm-hmm. It feels like a centaur.
A centaur?
I love how Whitney just drops these gems in the vlogs. Like, how in the does it feel like a centaur?
It just feels like a nice smelling.
When
really
have you
buff
ridden a centaur?
It's got mythical qualities to it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, it does feel quite mythical.
Yeah, that bike makes me so happy that like we're riding bikes right now at this time and era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean,
like
if you tried to make a bike like this a generation ago, it'd be the sketchiest thing ever.
Yeah, and you couldn't afford it.
No.
Alrighty everyone, we are back now on location checking out these motorcycles, and Spite had a great idea. Let's define each of these motorcycles with one word. So let's start with the Super Duke over there. Spite, what do you think?
Brutal.
Brutal. Whitney?
Steak.
Steak. I agree. I think I'd say meaty. Meat, something like that for the Super Duke, yeah. But Tuono, what would you think?
I would have to go with elegance for that one. Like grace, elegance.
Yeah, yeah. Whitney?
UFO.
UFO, spaceship-like, you know?
Oh yeah.
I think for the Aprilia, I would say poised. I think that'd be my word for it, maybe poised. And now the ZH2. What do you think, Spite?
Cocaine!
Whitney?
Soul boner.
Soul boner. Soul boner?
Soul boner.
Hyphenated?
I'm pretty sure supercharger in Latin is soul boner.
Yes, that is the soulless bonerous, right? Yeah, I'd do like manic or silly or something like that. And that goes to show you guys that these three motorcycles, despite being hyper naked, go about their business all very differently. So let's start off talking about the Super Duke. Spite, what do you make of it?
I would say that of the three, if I was going to buy one, this would be the bike that I would want to buy. It feels a little bit more classic, a little bit more raw. I like how it has some technology on there. You know, it's enough to make you feel like you're in control, but enough for you to actually override the controls. And you can turn a lot of them off, you know. It feels brutal, but not so much that you can't ride it on the daily. It's a really comfortable motorcycle. And it handles a corner really, really well.
Yeah. Whitney, what'd you make of the Super Duke?
It totally blew my mind. I don't know. I don't have experience with KTM at all. But getting on it, I was like, this is so much fun. I like it without the frills. I like just the steak, no sides. You're not getting filled up on anything else.
No barbecue sauce.
There's no barbecue.
Raw,
You don't
simple.
need barbecue sauce.
You really don't.
Just
You really
some
don't.
salt, and that thing was way more fun. It was fun in corners. I thought for sure that I was gonna simp over this, but yeah, that's great. It's got everything you need. It's mean, and it's angry,
Yeah.
and it's fast. So.
That's what I would give it to. You know, it's the rear sets are surprisingly high on the Super Duke, and the bars are surprisingly tall. It's got a very tall, aggressive stance to it.
Yep.
But it just has that classic kind of motorcycle feel. I don't know, like it feels like everything you'd think a bike would feel like in your brain. It just is such a pleasant thing, which you wouldn't think a Super Duke would be, but compared to these two, I guess, it feels very supple and normal, honestly.
Yeah.
Which goes to show you how far this category has kind of gone in the last couple of years. People have kind of lost their minds, which brings us to the Tuono, which, as the Aprilia Racing decal tells you right there, it's basically a race bike.
Yep.
It feels like one, right? Like it's so razor sharp and aggressive, and it's like got a pit button and it's just ready to slay the track.
It felt so confidence inspiring. It was so easy to ride this motorcycle, and just everything was telepathic on it.
Yeah.
And it was one of my first experiences with automatic self-adjusting suspension, and I could swear I felt it working, because I'd get on the bike. I mean, sure, maybe not, but I get on a motorcycle and I'm so used to having to set the suspension because I'm a bigger guy.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was really close on this thing, and it felt like it was just ready to go.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like spaceship level technology on this thing.
Which that's how you felt, right? Spaceship.
That's how I felt, you know, total race bike noob. I felt a little bit cramped. It feels super intuitive and really sensitive. So someone who's not used to all of that tech in a bike coming, you know, from the realm that I do, it was a little bit, I kept stalling it because it was just like, Jesus, when was the last time I stalled a bike? It was just kind of funny.
It was funny, you kind of repeatedly stalled it too, which I was like,
absolutely, 100%. I'm like, okay, get me back on the ZH2. That one was way less finicky, way more fun.
Yeah.
But once again, once you're on it and you're taking corners, you can really feel how amazing this bike is. But for me, it's like a little too UFO.
Yeah.
That might be different with more experience though.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, this is a bike where I could see someone owning it that wants to do track days, but wants a commuter bike and just wants literally zero compromise. And it's just, the soundtrack is so good.
This thing sounds amazing. That rumble is great.
Get it on the boil, the downshifts, it's incredible. But that brings us to our last contender over here. Everyone, I mean, the smiles already start happening because this thing is, it's so silly, isn't it? Like,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Spike, give me some feedback on this.
I mean, it's totally off the wall, guys. it's unbelievable when you ride it, just how much of a giggle factor it has. It is unrelentingly fast, and just everything about it feels like, you know, you just want to roll up on a Mustang and just absolutely dump all over his hood with this thing. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's just, you gotta have the setup that we have on there because it
the full
sounds
system.
so good.
Yeah.
It feels so nice, and the downshifts are so crisp.
Yeah, Whitney, I think this one surprised you too, right?
Oh my God, that one was my favorite by far because something interesting about this bike, sure, it's green and it's mean, but at the same time, it felt really trusting.
Yeah.
Hence the centaur metaphor. I'm like, oh, where are we going to next? Like this feels
You intrinsically trust a centaur,
Yeah.
guys. You have to, you know, when you meet one, like we all do regularly, you just trust them, you know? Yeah, I get you.
What would you do? Fight it? Like
I wouldn't fight a centaur. I'd lose. It has 6 limbs.
you just don't trust them. You're just like,
No, I don't trust it. Yeah, no. Nothing with that many limbs can be trustworthy. See any bug, you know? Yeah. But I agree, you know, speaking of bugs, speaking of crazy things, the ZH2 definitely strikes me as that as well. You guys know I love this thing. I've talked about it in videos so many times, and it's just great to get someone else on it to just validate that it's surprisingly confidence inspiring, surprisingly easy to ride and easy going, but then you do this and you're like, wow! But did the power feel overwhelming to you?
Not at all.
That's crazy.
Not at all. It felt controllable. It felt stable.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with this, the Tuono, it didn't feel super stable, but that's because of my riding level.
Yeah,
And skill
it's very
level.
stable. Let's give a little it's okay.
She's you hurt its feelings.
Yeah,
I'm
come on.
sorry, but me and my race bike noobness, I'm like, Jesus, what's going on here? There's so much happening, but that was just like, this feels a little bit daunting in that sense, but that, you get on that and it's smooth, it's deliverable, steady.
All right, so if you had to pick one of them, which
Duke.
one? The Duke?
All day.
All right.
This thing is just so angry, so mean, and so brutal.
Cool.
It's exactly what I want out of a naked bike.
Whitney? ZH2, no doubt?
Yeah, yeah.
I struggle between all three of them for a bunch of different reasons, but I think the kind of speed junkie itch in me, I'd have to go for the ZH2. It's so much fun to ride. And I imagine if I owned a ZH2, I'd probably have a more normal track bike in the garage too, but even if I didn't, this would be great to own too. So the moral of the story here, guys, is that no matter what bike you choose in this category, they're all pretty fun and pretty awesome. I don't think you can do a bad decision by buying any of the new Hyper Naked bikes. And fun fact, we didn't feature the Ducati Street Fighter V4S because I'm on bad terms with Ducati and they didn't want to be featured in this comparison video after I hurt their little fifis on the Multistrada, unfortunately. So they could not be featured in today's video, and we didn't get our hands on an MT10 in time for today's video. So I think out of all three of these bikes, you really can't do wrong. So we'll catch you on the next one. See you later. So, I hate to break it to you, but this video is actually over. But if you hit this one right over here, you can keep watching your sweet Papa Yam doing some fun stuff. And if for nothing else, do it for Yammie-chan. Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll just wait, it's okay. Take your time.